What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. I'm really excited today because I want to do a little bit of a lesson. I haven't done a lesson video in quite some time, and these videos always seem to do pretty well. So it's just a great way for us to connect, hang out, learn a few things, talk about riffs, guitar, centric music, writing, and all that stuff, okay? So do me a huge favor. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much in advance, and put your thinking caps on because we're going to be learning, all right? So some housekeeping stuff. We're in drop C. I never really understand why when people teach heavier styles of music, they always teach in like standard or like drop D. Forget all that. We're going into drop C territory. Drop C is a nice little middle ground. It's honestly kind of even a little bit higher tuned compared to some more modern stuff. But anyway, man, we're going to be using drop C as our benchmark here and our tuning for, you know, what we're going to be talking about. But as always, anytime I do any type of lesson or anything like that, all the ideas that I am going to be covering can be applicable to any tuning because the tuning is irrelevant. The thing that is most important is the space between the frets and the strings, okay? So no matter what drop tuning you're in, which is 95% of all heavy music anymore, all these ideas are applicable to whatever you're playing, okay? So let's get started. So I've covered this before in certain videos on my channel, which you guys can look up any sort of theory video or guitar lesson video, but I'm just gonna say it here again because still in present day, this is what I use. I always use the modes. And more specifically, I always separate my fretboard into two different sections, 0 to 12 and 12 to however many frets you have. This Jackson guitar right here has 22 frets, but if I was to have a 24 fret, like that orange Jackson right there, I essentially have two fretboards. And the reason why I do that is because whatever's applicable from 0 to 12 is also applicable from 12 to 22 or 24. So my point is like no matter what I'm doing in the lower register, I can do the exact same thing in the upper register. And that right there was a huge groundbreaking thing for me because once I realized that like I have another fretboard up here that has the exact same ideas and the spacing between the frets and the strings is exactly the same. Once I figured that out, it literally opened the entire fretboard to me. So if I was just to play some silly riff, right now, I'll just go 5, 3, 1 open. Just make it up real quick. I could take that same idea and go here. So you have two octaves, two registers to play the exact same thing. And whenever you're stuck on a riff and like you don't know where to go, that's one of the things that I always do. Honestly, full transparency, I always write a lot of my riffs up here just because I like the duality and the separation between the low open string and whatever fret I hit. So I'll take this 100% of the time versus it's the same note, just an octave higher. So that's something I want to get out of the way right now. So like I said, man, I always use the modes, okay? And for today's video, we're going to be using Phrygian. And I want you guys to write this down. I've covered this before in other videos, but in case you guys are still not taking this to heart, here's an opportunity to do so. Write this down. 0, 1, 3, 5, 7, 8, 10, 12. Those are the frets we need to focus on. That is a C Phrygian scale. And just to cover my tracks here, Phrygian is the third mode, and we're really playing the notes of an A flat major scale because the first three notes of an A flat major scale are A flat, B flat, C. So wherever we're playing C Phrygian, we establish ourselves as being in C Phrygian. We're really playing an A flat major. So what does that mean? Well, could mean nothing, could mean everything. But what it pertains to me in terms of riff writing is as long as I hit those frets, as long as I hit 0, 1, 3, 5, 7, 8, 10, 12 on the lower strings, I'm going to be in key 100% of the time. And establishing a key is the most important thing whenever you write a song, in my opinion. Whether you have an atonal singing voice, like a scream, whether you have a literal singer with melody in place, or if it's instrumental, in my opinion, you always need a key. Now, that doesn't mean you always have to be in key, and we're going to talk about that, but like that's just like my foundation, right? That's just where my brain goes. It's like I want to establish a focal point, a center of where I'm playing, because once I have a center point and a focal point, in this case C Phrygian, I can then choose to stick to it, 100% of the time, or I can choose to break the rules and deviate from the key. But it helps my brain out, my autistic brain out, because if I didn't have a key, if I was just playing blindly, I wouldn't know where to go. And teaching people privately and just, reading YouTube comments or just seeing people, in forums or, wherever, the number one thing I always see novice players or players who don't know theory say is, I don't know where to go. And I feel as though people don't know where to go because they don't have a focal point. They don't have a key. They don't have a centered flag in the sand staking their claim of like, we're in this key. You need a key. And if you don't have a key, you're going to be playing blindly. And then you're going to feel like you don't know where to go because you have no sense of direction. And that's just my own opinion, okay? If I was to make a riff, I've done this before in videos, but Johnny on the spot here, I'm just going to make up a riff following 0, 1, 3, 5, 7, 8, 10, 12. Don't know what I'm going to play, but I'm just going to hammer home the open C, the 0, and then dance around on the fretboard. So here we go. That's a song, that's a riff. Now, whether that's good or not is up for the audience to decide, but that is 100% in key in C Phrygian. Now, if you notice, I was just playing the low string the whole time to prove a point. But what about the other strings? Good question. Well, what's awesome about a drop tuning is the fourth string is just an octave above your low string. For example, this D string, D, is also a C. So they're octaves. So that right there allows me to play the exact same frets on the other string, the fourth string, and I'll be in key 100% of the time. So I could take that same riff, try to remember what I did there, and go. So I have 0, 1, 3, 5, 7, 8, 10, 12. 8. I have 8 spots in an octave between 0 and 12 times 2. That's 16 spots. So I have 16 spots to land on that will be 100% correct. If I take that same kind of riff that I just made up there and did a hodgepodge between the 6th string and the 4th string and went So that's just a nice little happy accident. Like, you know, I made that riff up, and I'm not trying to be like vain and be like, oh, I just made that up in 2 seconds, like Jack Black in Tenacious D. Hey, what's up? We wrote this 5 seconds ago backstage, or whatever the line is. My point I'm trying to make is, like, I'm not consciously thinking about notes, or I'm not consciously thinking like, oh God, I hope this is in key. I know it's in key because I've done my homework and I've practiced this stuff, to where like I can just shut my brain off, and all I have to try to do is come up with something cool and catchy and just land on the correct spots. Now you might be asking, what about the 5th string? Also a great question. For the sake of this video, the 5th string is 99% of the time in key whenever you land on those frets. So there's a couple of exceptions. There's like 1 or 2 maybe. But the point I'm trying to make is, like, don't worry about it, because a power chord has no major or minor qualities. And if you know anything about a drop tuning, it's tuned down to a perfect 5th, which is why you can have an open sound so magical. It's because it's tuned to a power chord. So if you're just, you know, one fingering it like I do all the time, you're stacking 2 octaves together, and then you're putting a perfect 5th in the middle of a sandwich. So this right here, you're making a perfect 5th sandwich. This is what I like to call it, with 2 octaves on either end. So that's going to be in key 99% of the time, and or it's going to sound very pleasing. It's never going to sound like dissonant. You're never going to have, you know, this sound. Very, very seldomly is a perfect 5th not going to be in key. And specifically with C Phrygian, it's going to be in key most of the time, and at the very least, it sounds good, right? So, taking that concept of that riff, I can then use the 5th string and incorporate that into this riff writing session. That's just on the spot. You know, it's not exactly the best thing I've ever done, but it sounds pleasing. It sounds like a song, right? And because theory's in mind there, and 99% of those notes are going to be in key. And like I said, man, you're still dancing around octaves and a perfect 5th, aka a power chord. So in this genre, you're going to be set. You're going to be all right, right? So that's how I incorporate the low strings when writing riffs. Now, what about the high 3 strings? All right, let's dissect it. Well, what's cool about guitar is it's all pattern-based, right? It's all shapes and numbers, and my brain loves numbers. Anybody who I teach privately knows that I geek out over numbers. I can remember dates, phone numbers, you know, birthdays, stuff like that, right? Like, I'm just very numbers focused in my brain. And I'm lucky because guitars is a lot of numbers, right? So if I was to take this note right here, it should be a G, and yeah, so C, D, E, F, G. All right, in drop C, this is a G. Well, that's a G. That's a G. Then right here, 10th fret B string is a G as well. So now we're incorporating other strings to, you know, get the sounds that we like, that are in key right there. So, you know, if I was to like have this riff, let me do something a little different, something a little bit heavier. That's like my riff, right? If I want to do some sort of ambient lead thing right here, I could go. and I'm dancing around on the other frets. And if I take that same shape, cross-reference it with the low string, it's the same frets as 5, 7, and 8, which I've established are in the key of C Phrygian. So I could go something like... all on key. My brain's hearing this as well. Another thing I could do is I could slide it up to, which is, I could go. If I went, that's down to the 3rd fret. So I'm going kind of fast here, but I hope you guys can understand that what I'm trying to say here is that, like, you can use the other frets and the other strings to cross-reference your bass line, your flag in this hand like I established, which is, in this instance, C Phrygian. Now, I haven't even touched the upper register, but if I was to do that real quick, remember, I said this is the same as this. So this is my 0, 1, 3, 5, 7, 8, 10. That's no different than... So I could use those frets as well and do the same concept of... That's no different than doing some sort of dance like that in the lower register. If you notice right there, I did it by accident. I went to 5, 6. I went something like... Six right there is out of key in C Phrygian. That's out. So, in theory, in textbook land, that is out of key. That's bad. That's bad. That's a wrong note. But so what, right? And we can choose to break the rules. Like I said earlier in this video, we don't have to play everything note for note to the textbook. To hell with the textbook. Who cares, right? But you can choose to play notes that are off to create a unique flavor, some sort of moment of tension and release. However you want to word it, you can play whatever you want. And right there, I just kind of did that instinctually. I just went... To make that perfectly in key, I would have to go something like... Slide up to 5, 7. But if I'm writing the song and I'm going to go, you know what? I'm going to go 5, 6. There's nobody telling you that you can or can't do that. Obviously, the textbook is saying that's wrong, but so what? The thing you want to do with breaking the rules is you just want to be mindful of like how much you want to make a wrong note the start of the show. Do you really want to make a dissonant, evil part of the song or an incorrect note, tension-filled note the start of the show? You totally can, but just be mindful that like your song structure and your feel and your flavor of your song might fall apart. Like if you're writing an epic melodic chorus, you don't want to be doing like... You could, but it's going to be hard for the singer to find like where the the notes are, like where to sing against, versus something that's very, very much bathed in theory, like a... That right there would be a lot easier to sing melodically over top of that. But you can break the rules and have dissonance in like an atonal section, like a screaming section. You know what I mean? Like you could do it there. So you can break the rules, but you still need a focal point, in my opinion. You know, if I was to do like black metal stuff, just do like... Totally fine. A lot of people have done that in the past, right? Like there's a whole genre around that sound. But is it correct in terms of theory? No. Is it going to be easy to sing over top of, like melodically sing? No, but you totally could do that. So if you just wanted the song to fall, you know, completely fall apart and you wanted to have no theory, do something like that. So all in all, man, to wrap up this video, my point that I'm trying to make is like have a key, have a focal point, have a center of like, these are the notes, the right notes that I can play, and then decide if you want to deviate from them, okay? So, I hope this video helps. Just a quick video. Looking at my camera here, it says 23 minutes of filming. However long this video is, it's a decent amount of information, but I hope you got something from this, and I hope you can learn from it and implement it into your own writing style, okay? Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Like, comment, and subscribe. And with that being said, everybody, I'll see you guys in a video very, very soon. Later.